Thank you very much, baby. We've come to the end of our meeting today, and we hope that actually it's not actually a hope, but it's a commitment to continue this form of engagement to be able to provide answers. What we had today are fragments of bigger, more complex issues. Could only afford that given the time constraints and the nature of our meeting, that it could only be but fragments of a broader picture and so on. So we hope as we continue to interact, we will do that. I do think that the turnover in Parliament is not necessarily unlike the one we see in the media as well. When we arrived in Parliament, some of the National Party members used to say to us, you guys must be careful. Some of you will be here in 20 years' time. We loved them off. We thought they were crazy, but look at where we are now today. So they knew one or two things about that. So there are people that we are aware have been around for that long, but they are completely new people in the field and so on. And it has been spoken about the effect it has on the media, on the quality of reportage, etc., etc. So inside the legislatures, not only nationally, but also provincially as well, there are changes that are taking place that have an impact on the kind of work we do. And this is why the work the chairperson speaks here is very important. What we have not been good at doing is to produce the reports and give more effective information about just the numbers of capacity building initiatives and people who have gone through these programs of education as members and what impact it has had in the quality of assertiveness in committees, the quality of questions they pose, and the quality of work they do back home, the inspiration they become in their families to their kids, and generally overall because of the success they've had in their educational endeavors. So it's been a very interesting development over time. Okay, look at this. One of the observations that I just wanted to share with you, in the section of research, our parliament is it's an old building, actually a labyrinth, and it's not only the speaker's wine cellar that's there, the legacy to Madam Speaker. Somebody saw something that to him promptly looked like a keyhole. And then he went around, they found this key somewhere, they went and opened there. And whoa, what they found is Hansard. And the report we get is that Hansard and the way it was compiled was newspaper articles put together into Hansard. Now, the question about the relationship between the media and Parliament was very interesting then. That Hansard was actually compiled newspaper article. So it tells you what they thought about the reportage at that stage to actually have it compiled together into that thing. It's a very interesting discovery. One of the things that Parliament does is obviously not only just to keep those records, but to modernize them, given the information technology developments that have taken place, and make them available to members for their research in doing their work, including their study and so on. It's one of the best libraries in the world, in fact, because of its linkage to the rest of the world and so on. So it's a huge resource to members in the support we give to them. But it also, then it enables us, the material from the media is hugely available to members because of the facilities of technology that we have and so on. But I thought that the commitment to continue the discussion and to look at the servicing of members to carry out their work requires better exposure than it has been the case to date, not only in Parliament itself, but wherever they come from and whatever work they do. In a conference in Australia on support to members by libraries and librarians and researchers and others, one of the questions they were posing was, there are problems of political illiteracy and information illiteracy. What do we do as societies in the Asian region, for example, to close the gap, because the quality of that will have a major impact on the work that we do and so on. When we do not sufficiently understand the political systems and how they work, some of the things people resort to can be very problematic. And it's because of our own weakness, perhaps, of not communicating effectively, of the recourse people have, the responsiveness with which we act on certain things and so on. And so they do not use some of those things for effective purposes. So we are hoping that in our engagement, this is one set of engagement, we will be engaging with universities to talk about the research that we're talking about. There are a number of projects which involve universities with legislatures and with ourselves as well, but we would like to deepen the quality of that relationship. So we are planning meetings to engage with them. There's a particularly problematic thing in Cape Town. The business actually organized somebody to go and research the reasons why they cannot attract black professionals in Cape Town, because many of them were struggling. They wouldn't, if they find them, they don't last 6 months or 7 months and so on. There's a debatable issue that is happening inside Parliament about its ability to attract professionals. We are finding also that in people applying, and then when they hear the conditions of service, what it is going to mean, what it's going to cost them, and some of them would like to be able to continue to travel back home and so on, they say, no, thank you. They go back. So for the same reason, in certain respects, not in every respect, we are unable to attract people and keep them, if they do, to be able to survive because of the expensiveness of Cape Town, in a sense. So it's a big, there's an economic story there behind some of the reasons for that, but there's a broader one as well, that we're hoping that the strengthening of Parliament is manifold. It includes these relationships that we are building with yourselves and with other key stakeholders that in the 5th Parliament we're prioritizing to begin to sensitize opportunities for collaboration. There's a whole need of public education, and this is what I'm talking about, this political literacy and information literacy. So much people inundated with material which they are not able to process effectively. So there are interventions that are required. I think in those spaces you have better capacity and skill to play that role there. I assume also with us playing our own part where it is appropriate, so that we keep the new ones who are coming in must be promptly informed and so on. The old one must be kept abreast with latest developments. This is not suggesting that our country, particularly South Africa, in the rest of the continent has the highest level of political literacy compared to other jurisdictions. But we still have problems, more or less, even if they're not significant. So we're hoping that our collaboration can bear useful fruits, and that relationships are tension-filled. It's the nature of relationship. Any relationship that is not having any tensions might explode later badly. So when it has these tensions, we have mechanism. This is one mechanism for dealing with those, to air our views, hear your views, and go away with 1 or 2 insights. By the way, the 3 of us, Madam Speaker, Chairperson, and myself, come from inside the executives. So the responsibility in Parliament that we have, we also bring in insights from inside the belly of the beast. It provides a very useful perspective on the quality of questions you pose because you've been there, but also things that you pay attention to.
You also say, Madam Speaker, you didn't have any idea about journalism and so on, and journalists. I was in the belly of the beast, but very differently, playing a very different role inside the media. In fact, some of the people who know me used to say, but are you really a journalist? What are you here for? And so on. But we used to have a very exciting relationship with the media in Cape Town, where we sat together in meetings to produce news, and those who worked in formal newspapers went away to report in those formal newspapers. We went and produced our own propaganda elsewhere from the same material. So that experience explains the way in which we appreciate the necessity for interacting with one another. We know there's a basis for good collaboration, but there's also good grounds for tension and fighting over what happens, what we say about each other, and so on. It is inevitable that will happen. The significant thing is that we have a basis to come and sit and talk about them. So thank you very much for having accepted the invitation. Our boss, Luzuko, there, thank you, and sorry we couldn't offer you more radical stuff than water. I don't know whether else is anything there good. But thank you very much.